God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore will we not fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea. Good evening. I'm Jason Brown, Minister of Music and Arts, and I am happy to welcome you to this evening's music meditation. If you are new to FPC, please feel free to explore all of the ministries of our church at fpcrichmond.org. On March 15th, 2020, the worship and community life of this congregation, like so many others, experienced major changes. The most notable, perhaps, being our shift from in-person worship services to online worship broadcasts. At the time, so little was known about COVID-19 that it was unimaginable that we would be in COVID times much past Easter, or Pentecost, or Labor Day, or Christmas. Yet today, just more than a year into a pandemic that continues to reshape the world and causes us to reimagine how the church engages with humankind, we thought it would be good to pause and reflect on some of the music that has nurtured, comforted, and inspired us since last March. Earlier, I shared the opening verses of Psalm 46. These words have often spoken comfort to my soul and have gained new gravitas over the last year. Here's a recording of Stanley Fountain singing Mark Hayes' setting of God is Our Refuge and Strength.
God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear. Therefore we will not fear.
This was recorded in March of last year, not long after everything shut down. I personally didn't begin my ministry here until September, but prior to that, the music and arts ministry was entrusted to someone who has become a dear friend and colleague and a trusted advisor, June Van Thorn. I've asked June to talk a little bit about our early pandemic music recordings.
Thanks, Jason, and welcome to FPC. It was a privilege for me to serve the church as interim minister of music. I started in January, but the pandemic really changed everything quickly. I think it was decided on Wednesday, March 11th, that we would need to have some kind of service online for Sunday, March 15th. That first week, we had Stanley and Jasmine sing a hymn a cappella. Later in March, as things worsened with the virus, Margaret Taylor Woods, a wonderful musician who had been working with us here, recorded several accompaniments at her home, including Refuge and Strength, which we just heard Stanley sing. As you know, Jason, trained singers don't usually sing to pre-recorded accompaniment. It's not like karaoke. There is so much collaboration between a live singer and an accompanist, especially on a piece as difficult as Refuge and Strength. It's not easy at all. And the way we did it, our very creative video producer, Rob Collins, played Margaret's accompaniment through speakers in the sanctuary for Stanley to hear while singing. It certainly wasn't something we had done before, but we've done a lot of things this past year that we hadn't done before, right?
Trouble, therefore we will not fear. Therefore we will not fear. God is our refuge and our strength.
Thank you, June and Stanley. Singing like that is something I hope I never have to do. One of the things I miss most about normal times is choir rehearsals. It's a time of community, conviviality, and creativity. Folks assemble from various locations and activities and work toward the common goal of making music that inspires us and others toward a deeper connection with God. Whether a church choir or not, imagine how much better our society, our collective lives might be if we all committed to living and working like a choir. Personally, I haven't had the privilege of being in a choir rehearsal since March 4th of last year. Yet, our choir sings on. Here's how. Step 1, we make a recording of me conducting while Daniel or an orchestra plays. Step 2, we send the recording and sheet music to singers. Step 3, singers record themselves while listening and watching the conducting recording. Step 4, the singers then send their recordings in to Rob. And the final step is Rob smashing everything together and making us a choir despite our distance and difficulties. Now, as you might imagine, this is not nearly as gratifying as the weekly ritual of gathering in person for rehearsals. We don't get to stumble over tricky passages of music and laugh our way to correction together. We don't get to embrace each other or smile or exchange shady glances across the rehearsal room, but at least we still do get to make music. Several years ago, I saw a Hallmark commercial that showed a montage of families engaging in various winter holiday observances: Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. And while there was narration almost throughout the ad, the line that stuck with me was almost at the end. It was this: traditions are not meant to be kept. They are meant to keep us together. And that's why we engage in worship traditions, isn't it? Weddings, baptisms, funerals, communion. They keep us grounded and gather us together as we seek to grow in gifts, graces, and love. The next two pieces revolve around two observances that bookend our faith journey. Its beginning with our baptism and its completion in death.
You will lose your baby teeth. At times you'll lose your faith in me. You will lose a lot of things, but you cannot lose my love. You may lose your appetite, your guiding sense of wrong and right. You may lose your will to fight, but you cannot lose my love. In times of trial,
One of the most inspiring things I've observed about our church's lay leadership and pastoral staff is a shared commitment to honoring the traditions of our faith and charting a course for FPC that leads ever forward. This approach to leadership is rewarding in just about every way because we get to enjoy the best of traditional and modern worship experiences. It's immeasurably enriching for our youngest disciples to grow up in a church that worships with music that has been sung by this congregation since it was organized in 1812, and have a praise band that plays contemporary music. And I know I'm the music guy on staff here, but I have to tell you, I think they're pretty good.
Living in the overflow, we're covered by your love, moving with the Holy Ghost. You're more than enough.
I'm walking in your freedom now. I'm covered by your grace. When you sing your healing power, we have been changed. Bless the Lord.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul. I am living in the overflow.
Bless the Lord.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul. I am living in the overflow.
God, you are the sovereign one. You've given us your name. We declare your kingdom come. Forever you reign.
In the overflow. Bound and not set free. Everywhere we go, we see the
Victory.
bless the Lord.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul.
I am living.
I am living in the overflow.
Bless the Lord.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul.
I am living.
I am living in the overflow. Oh, praising God, your Spirit falls, and now we walk in miracles. Oh, praising God, your Spirit falls, and now we walk in miracles.
Say miracle.
Miracles, miracles,
Everywhere that we go.
miracles, miracles,
Say
One of the unexpected blessings of COVID-19 from a ministry standpoint is the relative ease with which we are able to collaborate with mission partners and other congregations, regardless of their location. Over the last year, we've shared in worship with Broad Street Presbyterian Church in Columbus, Ohio, Montreat Worship Center, and the Reverend Dr. J. Herbert Nelson, stated clerk of our denomination. In December, we went beyond the denomination and partnered with Suncrest United Methodist Church in Morgantown, West Virginia, for our Lessons and Carols service. Their music director happens to be my wife, Angela Smith. Under normal circumstances, this sort of collaboration would have been difficult to coordinate, and even more so close to Christmas. Still, thanks to technology and FPC's willingness to embrace the opportunities woven into the challenges of our days, we were blessed to have just a few of our youngest disciples contribute to that service. Along with the Drummond Ringers from Suncrest, here now on this Palm Sunday, our children singing Joel Rainey's Christmas anthem, How Quietly.
So
As I mentioned earlier, prior to my arrival here at FPC, the Music and Arts Ministry was entrusted to June Van Thorn. She enjoyed the pleasure of leading music in pre-COVID worship in 2020, transitioning to online worship broadcasts, shepherding the chancel choir through its first virtual choir recordings, and continues to support FPC's ministries in every way she possibly can. As we bring this evening's meditation to a close, I'd like to thank you for sharing this time together. I'd also like to invite you to join us next month on April 25th, when we'll celebrate and discuss FPC's top 10 hymns. If you'd like to vote for your favorite hymn, just visit the music page on our website, fpcrichmond.org/music, and fill in your information. Now, to send us off with God's blessing, we'll hear the chancel choir sing Lutkin's setting of "The Lord Bless You and Keep You" under June's leadership. Be encouraged.
The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord lift his countenance upon you
And give you peace.
and give you peace. And give you peace. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you and be gracious